Hello fellow ICMers. Like many of you, this is my first video blog post, so here goes nothing. I've been playing with the lighting in my kitchen, but if it still looks in here like I'm being abducted by aliens, I apologize. And I'll try to do my best to keep my head straight, but if my eyes do wander to the side, it's because I've yet to commit my post/script to memory. Okay, so let's begin. I'd like to talk about some of the central points Professor Halavey mentioned in his most recent online lecture, namely the tension between narrative and the interactive, as he puts it, and the notion that design does not move in a clear, linear path. For me, starting this program, this dichotomy represents not only a tension, but a crossroads in my career. For 9 years, I, in essence, followed a fairly straight line, honing my skills as a storyteller and narrative specialist of sorts. I worked at several newspapers and publications trying to draw someone into my article and tell them a story. The goal was to get readers under the tent, so to speak, so they could witness the show. Compared to my current route, my previous path was a rather linear one, when I think about it, by way of a traditional form of mainstream media. Now, as a student in interactive communications, I can only build the tent or the stage, but I cannot perform on it, at least not in my previous role. Everything I knew about media has been, in a sense, flipped on its axis, as I try to create an open dialogue between me, the designer, and the user. Professor Halavey called this a productive tension, which seems to me to be a little bit of an oxymoron, but only time and actual experience will tell. I will say, though, that my experience as a feature writer and reporter in newspapers will actually probably help me a great deal in the interactive realm, because those roles allowed me, I believe, the ability to hone my sense of empathy for others. Especially in my last job, I sat in people's living rooms and tried to get to know the real them as best I could. Such people skills should hopefully come in handy when conducting interviews with potential and current users. I want to finish this post by expounding on the idea of design never following a straight line. When listening to Professor Halavey's words, I was reminded of a verse from an old church song I used to hear when I was a kid, called "Stay With Me," which goes like this. I went to school for a long time, expecting to stay in a straight line, until I discovered that great minds don't move in a straight line at all. Without getting too deep here, it's no surprise that the process of design does not follow a neat and tidy process, because life itself does not. The Wikipedia entry on web design states that, taken to its fullest potential, web design is undoubtedly the most sophisticated and increasingly complex method to support communication in today's world. Increasingly complex. That definitely sounds like life to me. Although I will always cherish forms of linear presentations from the pens and keyboards of eloquent and talented writers, I'm excited to explore all the possibilities of working in a nonlinear format. Furthermore, I was a little puzzled at why Professor Halavey only really referred to user-centered design in his lecture, when Dan Safer's book, Designing for Interaction, mentions that there are 3 others: activity-centered design, system design, and genius design, that are listed as possible interactive design modalities, each with their own pros and cons. UCD is a valuable approach, but only one approach to design, Safer writes. Lastly, at the end of the lecture, Professor Halavey says that once you know what works for you, you are free to experiment and break the rules when it comes to web design. But that process, at least for me, will take longer than the 18 months in which I am in this program, probably. So for now, I'll try to follow the rules. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.